Hey everyone, welcome to the coaster tutorial that I promised you. We've got 5 here and we're gonna make the 6th one together, and then one of you will get the set of 6. So these 4 still have their tails sticking out, but we can go ahead and weave those in together, and that'll give you a chance to see it done at least 5 times, so you can see that it's not really a science, it's more of an art than a science, how exactly you want to weave in your tails. But we'll set those aside for now. And I'm not going to really get into the 101 basics of knitting. There are plenty of tutorials out there for that. That's how I learned, actually. YouTube is a beautiful thing, and the people on it who take time out of their day to actually, here's how you knit. It's amazing, and it took me forever, but thank goodness they did it. So what we have today to make these coasters is jute. A jute roll. I'm not actually sure of the width, so sorry about that. Knitting needles, again, more of an art than a science. It doesn't matter if you get the exact size, but if you want to know the size, they're 15. That's US 15. If you're using the metric system, it's 10 millimeters. So, oh, and don't mind the paint on my hands. We've been painting around the house. There's been a lot going on, actually. It's really exciting. I might have an announcement soon, but we'll see. Okay. Oh wait, that totally sounds like something else. No, it's not that announcement. You'll see. Some people measure out exactly what they're gonna need. I just keep my working yarn. We're gonna call this yarn. I keep my working yarn to my right, that's just how I do it, and I leave some loose, and then I kajigger it around my hand. It's an art. First we're gonna cast on, and these are 6 by 8, so, or I think they're 6 by 6. Whatever. They're sisters, not twins. So we'll try and make it look approximate. So we're going to cast on 6 stitches. So casting on, again, there are plenty of tutorials out there specifically for casting on and casting off. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. We're going to count on, well, hold on. You got to start with a slip knot, which I don't actually know how to make a slip knot, so I do something approximate to it and it gets the job done. So that actually counts as 1. I hope I'm under this enough. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, that's how I cast on. Some people get ridiculous. They do this gun thing, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, 6. Okay, we technically have our first row. Congratulations, you rock. Next, we are going to start knitting. These are so simple. It's just a basic knit stitch, back and forth. So no stockinette, no purling, nothing like that. So all you need to know is 1 stitch. Take your working needle and slip it under the first loop in front of the knot, in front of the bump. Stick it up, take your working yarn, wrap it around, and then pull it through. And this jute is not very flexible, so your stitches are going to be a little tight. I'm sure if I were better, I'd be able to work with it a little bit faster. You get a groove eventually, but yeah, okay, so that's 2 down, 4 to go. I love these short little rows because even with really tight work like this, with tight fibers, it goes pretty quickly. That is our second row. completed. Whew! And you see a tail here. Now, what some people can do is leave the tail out. So this is the end tail, and then you have a beginning tail. If you'll notice, none of these actually have the beginning tail, and that is because I like to weave it in, or I like to knit it into the work and then trim it later if necessary. That way I know it's not going anywhere and it's taken care of ahead of time, so that when I'm done and by the time I'm done with a project, I'm a pretty slow knitter. So by the time I'm done with a project, I'm done with the project. I don't want to have to worry about weaving in two tails. So yeah, the only exception to that for me is if I'm making a flat hat, which maybe I'll make a tutorial on that, because those are super fun and they're super cute, super easy, and really inexpensive for the materials. So maybe we'll do flat hats in the near future. Okay, so time for the third row. Again, when you're just a simple knit stitch, pick up your tail with your working yarn. Just gather them together and then wrap them around your working needle and pull them through. And just keep doing that until you run out or you reach the end of the row, which you might, because if you have a really long tail, that can happen. But at that point, you can just trim it, I think. Now, another thing with jute, I mean, all yarn does this, but man, does it coil up. So every once in a while, you gotta put down your work and uncoil it, or else it starts to show in your work. I will trim this off. Where are you going? So there's the tail right there, poking out. Hi, tail. It's much shorter now. We can just trim it off when we're done. But it's not at risk of going anywhere. So you don't have to worry about your work unraveling from that end, at least. We will deal with the end when we get there. And that is row 3, and you can see how it's already starting to grow. Congratulations, it's growing. That's another thing, jute sheds. Oh yeah. So be prepared to clean up a little bit, or like if you're on the couch, I would not knit with jute in bed because of a scratchy sheet. Row 4. We're chugging right along now. So I think I'm gonna just work through this, and then I will meet back with you at the end when we're ready to cast off. Okay, we are now on our last row. I'd say that's a pretty good size. It's about the same as the others. Good enough, right? Especially for this vibe. Okay, so for our last row, we're going to cast off. Now, again, there's specific tutorial videos for this, but just to run through it with you, to cast off, you knit the first 2 stitches just like you normally would. Then you don't knit the third, not yet. You take your, now they're both working needles, take this left needle and slip it under, or I guess down into and through this first loop, and careful not to let this one slip off. Bring it up and over the second loop. Keep that loop on your right, and then slip it off. And that might be confusing to people who, this is the first time you're ever seeing this, but once you get the concept, it makes perfect sense. You're just tying loops within loops, and you're just like basically hooking the fabric together. So knit one more. You only ever want to have 2 stitches on your right needle when you're casting off. So here we have 2 again, and pull it up over the outermost loop. And there you go. Now, are you starting to get the picture? You're just pulling loops through loops through loops, and then the last loop will be the one that you need to tie that sucker down, or else if that gets loose, the whole thing will pull out. Get that second one back on there, or a new second one. Now you have 2 on there again. Pull this one over. Pull this one over. Pull that one over. All right, now you're definitely seeing it, right? Cool. I'm assuming you said right. Pull this one over this one now. You're getting it. You're getting it, kiddo. Last one. All right. So now you pull this one over, the last remaining. Oops, that's never good. Stitch, and you're done with that needle. Congratulations. If this pulled through, now you really get it, right? It's clearly evident now. I really hope you can see this because it's like light bulb. For me, when I just had to trust that I was doing the right thing the first time I cast it off. As soon as I saw it finish, I went, oh, that's what I was doing. Okay, now that you have this last loop, you're gonna cut however long you think your end tail should be. I don't think it needs to be too long. With fabric, I make it a little longer. That way I can tie a couple knots and weave it in really well. And you just stick it through the loop and pull to make a knot. And technically, if these aren't going to be handled too much, you could just trim it off. Or, you know what some people do? They bring this back around and they tie a little loop there so they can hang it, you know, in their kitchen or something. And that would look really cute, but for the sake of learning, we're going to go ahead and weave in the tail. With thinner or more flexible yarns, like with, I must be allergic to this stuff, excuse me. We could just use yarn needles. These are way too small. The eyes are too small on these to use with this material. So in comes the crochet hook to save the day. This can just slip through the material. Yeah, I need a smaller one. In theory, this could slip through, there you go, and just weave it through that way. You pull it through that way. And by the way, when I'm referring, if you're not familiar with weaving it in, you're just weaving it through. I'm sure there's some technicality or some strategy you're supposed to follow so that it doesn't unweave, but I just do it randomly so that it A, blends in, and B, isn't at risk of pulling back out with a lot of use. And with coasters, whatever. You already tied a knot, so. And I kind of do it with the whole thing, but again, when I'm done with work, when I'm done with a project, I'm done with it. So I'll weave it a little bit and then I might just trim the end and say, good enough, right? Okay, so we need to wrap this up. I did not realize I was talking so much. So there's your 1 done, there's your 2 done. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Come here, I gotcha. Come here. Yes, I talk to my knitting projects. Comment below if you also talk to your knitting projects. Often it is contentious, but every once in a while it is friendly. There's 3. You know, these are pretty nice. They're pretty nice because of the material, and it's a really good feeling when you know how to make something that you didn't know how to make the day before. And you can wrap these up really nicely with some yarn, tie them in a bow, and there's you a great present for a loved one. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money, especially if you're on a budget. That's a good thing. Doesn't make you cheap, makes you frugal, and it makes you crafty. You know, you made it with love. You didn't just go and buy it. And this is a labor of love, especially if you're learning, if you're just now learning. And people will appreciate it. They'll appreciate that you took the time. There you go. Now, again, if this was a more flexible material, you would tie a few knots in there as well, because it would just pull right back through, especially if someone's gonna wear it and wash it. Definitely tie some knots with that tail. And then weave it through again, tie a little knot, weave it through again, tie a little knot, then trim it. That's why you want it to be a little bit longer. But for these, they're not going anywhere. All right, this will be the last pull. There we go. And there you have it, folks. There are your 6 jute coasters. And again, these are really great for heavy mugs, weighted down pottery, or heck yeah, even a small plant. You could put one of these. You could put one of these guys on here. That looks really cute. I'm gonna take one of the bigger ones. Look at that, that's awesome. Heck, that's really cute. Just real quickly, for presentation, if I am giving something like this as a gift, and I am giving this to one of you, I will make a little bow. I think I'm doing this right. I think I'm doing it. Look, Ma. Yeah, that'll do. Right, that'll do. There, so you pick some nice colorful yarn, and there you go. Now it's a fun, heartfelt, personal gift you can give to somebody. And one of you is going to get these. All right, thank you so much for watching. And again, thank you for helping me reach 20 subscribers. I started out with 0, and now there's 20 of you, and I'm so excited to share more of my life with you, more of the things that I love and that tickle me and make me happy. If you liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, because it really helps it get in front of more people. Videos are more important to YouTube if they have some likes, some thumbs up. So click the thumbs up, please, and then YouTube will know that people like it, and it might show it or suggest it to other people who are looking for something like this. To select one of you to win these, comment below with your suggestion for my next tutorial. It could be a flat hat, it could be an infinity scarf, which you knit with your arms. That's super fun. So thank you again for watching this and for helping me reach my goal of 20 subscribers. You guys are amazing, and I love you all. Bye-bye, have a lovely day. It's okay. Oh, I should make sure this is in focus. Are there people that can knit like ambidextrously? That would go so much faster.